Virginia City, Montana Territory, January 14th, 1864. The temperature is 17 below zero. 5 men stand on a raw timber gallows above a street that smells of horse dung, wood smoke, and frozen mud. 4 of them pray. The 5th grins, a grin that stretches his mouth but stops at the cheekbones. A crow lands on the crossbeam above his head. He looks up at it, then out at the crowd, and speaks loud enough to carry, "I'll be in hell before you finish breakfast." His name is Boone Helm, born into a church-going Kentucky family, dead by vigilante rope before his 40th year. In between, a trail of bodies stretching across 6 territories, a wanted poster nailed to the door of every sheriff's office from Missouri to the Pacific, and something darker that no wanted poster ever mentions. 3 images define him. A father weeping in a Missouri courthouse, swearing his son is insane. A frozen mountain pass in the Cascades swallows a group of men whole. A single boot, stiff with frost, was left behind in the snow beside a campfire that burned out weeks ago. Jackson County, Missouri, 1828. The Helm family owns land, attends church, and keeps its name clean. Boone is the son who does not fit the frame. By 14, he earns a reputation across 3 counties as a brawler. Not the high-spirited frontier kind that wins respect at county fairs, but the kind that keeps swinging after the other man's knees have given out, that watches the blood on his knuckles with something closer to curiosity than regret. He marries at 20. The marriage lasts 3 years and sounds, by all accounts, like gravel in a tin drum, loud, grinding, and going nowhere. His wife leaves with the children. He drinks rye whiskey by the half-pint and picks fights with neighbors over fence lines and old debts. He borrows $30 from a man named Elias Carter and never repays it. Then he borrows from Carter's brother. Neighbors stop waving from their porches. The general store extends him no more credit. The circuit preacher skips his pew. Then gold turns up in California. For most men, it is an opportunity. For Boone Helm, it is an exit. He never reaches California, not the first time. In the summer of 1851, somewhere in the Indian Territory between Missouri and the Western Trails, Helm kills a man named Littleberry Chute, his own relative. The argument starts over a horse, a dun mare, 15 hands, worth roughly $22. It ends with Chute face down in the red clay, a bowie knife between his shoulder blades. Helm flees northwest. His family, still loyal in the way only blood makes people irrational, hires a lawyer and argues before the circuit judge that Boone is not responsible for his actions, that something behind his eyes has always been wrong, broken, absent. The judge commits him to a Missouri state asylum. He escapes within 8 months. What follows is a decade of slow unraveling across the Western Territories. He works as a hired gun in California mining camps. He scouts for a land speculation group in Oregon whose methods don't survive close examination. He robs a gold transport outside Jacksonville. 2 mules, a strongbox, and a Wells Fargo escort he leaves bleeding in a ditch and is gone before the dust settles. The frontier absorbs men like Helm, wide enough. For now, winter, 1858, the Cascade Mountains. Helm rides north with 6 prospectors through a Douglas fir forest, so dense the sky disappears by noon. The snow starts on the 3rd day and does not stop. Within a week, the trail vanishes. Within 2 weeks, the food runs out. The temperature drops to 30 below. The trees crack at night like rifle shots, and nobody sleeps. The group fractures. 2 men turn back south. The mountains take them. A third wanders east into a white wall of nothing. Helm keeps moving with the remaining two, breaking trail through chest-deep drifts, his black wool coat soaked through and stiff as board by morning. One of the men, a prospector from Ohio named Burton, collapses on a Tuesday. His feet are black to the ankle. He can't stand. He tells Helm to leave him. Helm stays beside him for 2 days, feeding the fire with green wood that fills the hollow with smoke thick enough to taste. Then Burton dies. Helm walks out of those mountains alone in March, gaunt, his beard matted, and his eyes sunk deep into their sockets after 40 days without a real meal. He walks into a trading post outside Fort Dalles, orders whiskey, and drinks without speaking for an hour. Later, in Oregon saloons, in the smoky canvas tents of California gold camps, he talks, not boasts, talks. The way a man talks when the weight of something needs distributing. About the cold, about Burton, about a choice no frontier preacher ever prepared him for. Meat's meat, he says, and a man's got to eat. The newspapers find the phrase in 1863. They run with it for a decade. By 1862, Helm drifts into Montana territory, specifically the gold camps around Bannack, a raw settlement of canvas tents and split-log saloons where a man's past dissolves the moment he crosses the territorial line. Outside Bannack, a Shoshone encampment stretches along the river bend, teepee poles against a gray sky, smoke rising from cook fires, men on horseback watching the new arrivals with the flat, measuring gaze of people who have seen too many waves of strangers come through and stay. Helm rides past without stopping. Inside Bannack, he meets Henry Plummer, elected sheriff, respected citizen, and the secret architect of the Innocents, a 70-man criminal organization that robs the same gold shipments it is paid to protect. Helm joins. He has worked for worse. The Montana Vigilance Committee begins moving in December 1863, quietly, fast, without warrants or trials. They hang 21 men across the territory. They take Helm on the 14th of January. For the first time in 13 years, he does not run. The Montana Post runs his name above the fold the following week. By spring, newspapers in San Francisco, St. Louis, and New York carry the story. Editors add details. Helm never confirmed. The body count climbs with each retelling. The cannibalism, a rumor in 1863, hardens into fact by 1870, legend by 1890, and folklore by 1910. His family, 3 weeks after the hanging, submits a written plea to the territorial governor, arguing Helm was never mentally competent. The governor does not respond. Virginia City moves on. The gallows come down by summer.